Today's daily word is Revelation. More specifically, the book of Revelation. You've heard me say this before. The book of Revelations is one of the most incredible books in the Bible. Because the book of Revelations is basically a testimony, and it says this, the testimony of Jesus Christ. And the book of Revelations outlines the history of what's going to be taking place for God's people. And it also talks about what will happen to those who aren't God's people and who don't conform to the ways of the Lord. Yes, a lot of things in Revelations, the book of Revelation, is metaphorical or symbolic or straightforward. And the key is to seeing, trying to figure out what's straightforward, what is metaphorical, or what is being symbolized when you look at the book of Revelations. But I want to just say, I want all people that hear my voice, don't be scared of the book of Revelations. Just look at it, read it, and try to understand that it's really describing a timeline and story of God's people. And why I want to talk about the book of Revelations today is because as we go through the book of Revelations and as it gets closer to the end, there's a new age that we have to look forward to. You got to think the world is set up in many different ages. Different ages, different ages, different ages. And all of these prophesied things had to happen during whatever age period it is. But at some point, this age has to come to an end. And what better way for it to come to an end without outlining and visually and graphically looking at the story of God's people and this world and the changes that can manifest after this period is over with. So when you hear these vials was poured out in the air, or when you hear that an angel came down and spoke to somebody, or when you hear that certain people or certain events will happen, and look at these events and signs and things of that nature to kind of figure out where we are in this world at this time as it relates to the book of Revelation. When it talks about the seven churches, and it basically the seven churches of Asia, we've talked about this on many occasions, is really the belief system of all of the people in the world. You're going to identify with one of these seven churches. There's no question about it. And you might fall into a couple of the churches depending, but more specifically, you're going to want one of these churches, you're going to be able to identify with that. And that belief system. When we talk about church, we talk about belief system. Like I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in his doctrine. I love him to death. I try to follow his doctrine. I try to use his great example of how I should be. That's the church that I follow. And my belief system. And one of the seven churches, it fits that belief system. But just like all the other churches, there's warnings There's pros and cons and warnings of how, if you're doing good, continue to do good. If you're not doing good, repent, say you're sorry for what you did, and you try to do better. If you don't believe in anything, okay, you don't believe in anything. You made a choice. But you got to ask yourself to explain all the great things that's happened in the world. If you think you're the end all be all for everything, and it's nothing, you're the one that made it. You think you that lucky? You that lucky that you made it and a whole lot of other people didn't make it? So it's a lot of things to think about when as you go through the book of Revelation. But as you go through it, and you go through the trials and tribulations of life and how things are, there is a rainbow at the end of it, where we all going to be getting along. We're all going to love each other. We're all going to be better. We're all going to work towards things together as one. We're not going to be so separate, so separated, so divided. That's the key. That's the key to the enemy, is to divide the world, divide the brothers and sisters from each other. That's the fight. Talk to you soon. God bless.